Here we have a quiet little motel.
What defines a truly great horror movie? It's not just the jump scares or the blood. It's the lingering fear that stays with you long after the screen goes dark. The best horror films don't just aim to scare you, they challenge your mind, bend your reality, and sometimes even make you question your own safety. Over the years, horror has evolved into one of the most creative and respected genres in cinema. In this video, we're counting down 10 horror movies that have stood the test of time. Films that redefined fear, broke new ground, and became cultural milestones. Few movies have had as much cultural impact as Jaws. Directed by Steven Spielberg, this film turned the ocean into a place of terror for an entire generation. The brilliance of Jaws lies in its slow-burn suspense. The shark isn't fully revealed until much later in the movie, and that anticipation creates unbearable tension. The chilling score, the unforgettable performances, and the primal fear of the unseen predator combine to make Jaws more than just a horror film. It's a masterclass in building tension, and it still holds up as one of the most terrifying and well-crafted thrillers ever made. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is more than just a horror film.
Long one to you.
It's a cinematic revolution. From the shocking twist halfway through the story to the haunting portrayal of Norman Bates, this film shattered every expectation of its time. The infamous shower scene alone became one of the most iconic moments in film history. But beyond the scares, Psycho explores themes of identity, madness, and isolation. It's cold, suspenseful, and deeply unsettling, proving that horror can be both intelligent and disturbing. Decades later, it still manages to shock first-time viewers and influence filmmakers across every genre. Ridley Scott's Alien is pure nightmare fuel. Set aboard a claustrophobic spaceship, the film combines science fiction and horror in a way that feels both intimate and epic. The creature design, by H.R. Giger, is disturbingly organic and completely unlike anything audiences had seen before. What makes Alien so terrifying isn't just the alien itself, but the overwhelming sense of helplessness. Trapped in space, surrounded by metal corridors and blinking lights, the crew is hunted one by one with no hope of escape. It's tense, quiet, and brutal, a haunting experience that forever changed sci-fi horror. Get Out is a rare horror film that's as thought-provoking as it is terrifying. Directed by Jordan Peele, it begins like a simple thriller, a young black man visiting his white girlfriend's family, but slowly reveals a deeper, more sinister layer beneath the surface. It tackles real-world themes like racism, identity, and exploitation with precision, using horror as a lens to explore social anxiety. What makes Get Out unforgettable is how it balances genuine dread with smart satire. It's a modern classic that redefined what horror could be in the 21st century. This psychological thriller pushed the boundaries of horror by introducing one of the most chilling characters in film history, Dr. Hannibal Lecter.
Cautious, precise, and he's never impulsive. He'll never stop.
The Silence of the Lambs is not about gore or supernatural entities, but about the horrors of the human mind. Jodie Foster's Clarice Starling and Anthony Hopkins' Lecter share a tense, unforgettable dynamic that elevates the entire film. The atmosphere is constantly suffocating, the pacing is meticulous, and the psychological tension never lets up. It's a rare horror film that also won big at the Oscars, and for good reason. John Carpenter's The Thing is the ultimate paranoia-driven horror film. Set in an isolated Antarctic research station, the story follows a group of scientists as they face a shape-shifting alien that can imitate any living being. As trust begins to erode and suspicion grows, the fear doesn't come just from the creature, it comes from the people themselves. The practical effects are still jaw-dropping today, and the film's bleak tone and hopeless atmosphere make it one of the most unsettling horror experiences ever made. It's claustrophobic, cold, and deeply disturbing. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a slow descent into madness.
Some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family with an axe.
Based on Stephen King's novel, the story follows Jack Torrance as he becomes the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel. As the days drag on, supernatural forces and Jack's own inner demons begin to take control. From the haunting visuals to the unsettling performances, especially Jack Nicholson's iconic portrayal, The Shining is a psychological horror masterpiece. It doesn't rely on cheap scares, it builds dread through imagery, silence, and surreal moments that stay with you long after the film ends. Hereditary isn't just scary, it's emotionally devastating.
When you're a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you.
Directed by Ari Aster, the film begins as a family drama, but slowly twists into something far more sinister. What sets Hereditary apart is its ability to make grief itself feel like a source of horror. Toni Collette delivers a breathtaking performance as a mother unraveling under the weight of trauma and loss. As the supernatural elements creep in, they feel like an extension of the family's emotional breakdown. With a disturbing final act and relentless atmosphere, Hereditary is a modern horror classic that's as emotionally raw as it is terrifying. Often called the scariest film of all time, The Exorcist is a landmark in horror history.
You really don't want me to play?
Captain Howdy said no.
Who's Captain Howdy?
The story of a young girl possessed by a demonic force is terrifying enough, but what makes this film truly unforgettable is its raw intensity. From the groundbreaking makeup and sound design to the deeply unsettling performances, every element of The Exorcist is crafted to disturb. It was one of the first horror films to be taken seriously by mainstream audiences and critics alike. Even today, its imagery and themes remain powerful, making it an essential entry in horror cinema. Horror isn't just about what lurks in the shadows, it's about what it awakens inside us. Whether it's the fear of the unknown, the loss of control, or the horrors of the human mind, the best horror films know how to tap into something deeply personal. These 10 movies didn't just entertain, they left a mark, challenged expectations, and shaped the genre in powerful ways. So whether you're a longtime horror fan or just starting to explore the darker side of cinema, these films are essential viewing. Just maybe don't watch them alone.